we found that we were able to model this with better than 90% accuracy, the defect rate found and fixed with some mathematical algorithms that Larry Putnam created, which is now in a model called the SLIM model, Software Lifecycle Management, and that was my first experience with it. So this is something that still is relevant today. And when we were working on that nuclear submarine program, we wanted to shrink this curve and shorten it. The way we did it was some pretty crazy ideas back then. We paired people in teams of 2. We did work in short cycles. We actually wrote the tests before we wrote the code. And I know because I had to write the tests. And as a young engineer, that was kind of a daunting test because the epic that drove all of the test cases that had to be written to verify that the system was doing its job was something called the Trident II scenario document. And you had to have top secret clearance to go read the book, read the scenario document. You got the document, you were in a locked room, and you got to open it up. And from here, we had to make sure that we covered all of the tests to cover this scenario. This scenario was the end of the world. Okay? And so it's a launch sequence. And I remember sitting in that room all by myself and going, what am I reading here? You know, it had all the targeting information. Vladivostok, Moscow, everywhere. And so, after I got through that, I had to go out and write tests. And we wrote tests that were designed to go right to the operation of the system as it launched missiles. And we had to make sure that we traced all the test specs and procedures to requirements. Today they'd be called stories. We'd write these tests in advance because they would constitute the acceptance test criteria that would basically say we've delivered a ship. So we were doing something called acceptance test-driven development. But it was Agile before Agile was cool, right?